good pitching. I mean, obviously the way Miguel pitching.
Yeah, I understand why they can't. Who'd they name like player of the game? JJ? I'm not. Last time I started, like the web gems at ESPN, I'd tell them that's not a web gem. You know, or some guy would time his catch, break back, and run in and dive. I'm not getting involved because then they made me start going out and doing the web gems in the dungeon. No, Miguel was the difference. That's impressive. You know, the American League East guys see him so much, and there's no secrets. By the way, the ball didn't hit the guy, but hit the guy. What are they basing it on? And it was quick and confirmed. I got to hear that one tomorrow. The ball never hit him. Because I know they don't have an angle we don't have. I'm curious to hear what they say. Now, Miguel was about as sharp as you want to see him. It's tough not sending him back out there. He had done his job at 96. What was he? And I'm not going to, especially where they were in the order. Didn't look too promising there with Darren for a while. That was the other thing. When you got an option like Darren down the bullpen with all those right-handed hitters, it worked out. We were fortunate.
Well, with Miguel, he was so economical and able to give you guys 8 innings. I mean, how important was that, especially yesterday with the doubleheader?
Well, it'd been great if he'd pitched we could have used that. We only used Darren, so that's good. We're probably a day or two away from, very appreciative of it as bullpen mates are, but we're still a day or two away. And that's hard to think that that's going to happen. It's very hard to do. So that was big for a day. Probably some guys in Norfolk and Bowie probably not too happy with him.
Does that stop you from making a move tomorrow?
Yes. I didn't want to tell you something I didn't know for sure, but Ned's waiting on me out there. I'm not sure if he's got something different from Dan.
Even if JJ's not swinging a hot bat at a particular time, you still like seeing him up there in a clutch.
Yeah, he's had a couple big knocks like that where he didn't look particularly. Look at their pitching. I mean, it's hard to get the group much together. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of guys. They come in, they throw a high percentage of fastballs. I think McGee's thrown 1 breaking ball all year, and he threw 3 tonight. And Carnes is like 70% fastball, and he threw a lot of off-speed pitches. So it's, we always challenge them, realizing this may be what they're doing to everybody else, but, it usually follows a different pattern against us. So what was your question?
JJ, the type of guy.
Yeah, I mean, JJ, he doesn't. He's very calm. He hits in those situations like he plays defense. Very calm and efficient.
The team's been kind of inconsistent this month. A win here, loss there, 2 here. Are you seeing signs that this week maybe there's, you're going to break out of that and get a streak going?
Not necessarily. Someone pointed out to me today, we were 24-22 at this point last year, and was looking at some offensive comparisons and how many categories we're better in this year than last year. So it is a little bit of a slap, not a slap, but just a reminder to me personally, one, how hard this is to do, and I think for the most part how well we've pitched from a starting pitching standpoint, all things being equal. But we'll seek our level because of the people. We will be who we are. I have a lot of confidence in that, and that's comforting for me.
I mean, put numbers however you want to make them and get things out of them, but Miguel's numbers against American League East and against Tampa Bay in particular, but just overall in American League East, are really impressive. Is there something to that?
Well, I'd like to think we were smart enough to have him set up after a doubleheader. Well, actually, Wally did bring it up a little bit, but you can't, like I said before the game, you don't assume that's going to follow, and I can't tell you how hard that is. When you get to the point where everybody knows what Sabathia's going to do and what Odorizzi's going to do and what Miguel's going to do and Chin's going to do, and you play each other so many times, and then when you get somebody that can still do it, then it's more than just one of those things where you ambush somebody for a game. Those are the type of hurdles that guys like Kevin Gosman and Mike Wright and all those guys are going to have to cross over.
We talked about it to a degree, but What about the way that O'Day got? Of course, he made the jam himself, but the way he got out of that without the damage.
Well, yeah, he made a good pitch to Longoria. Longora's just a good hitter. Hit it off the end of the bat and flipped it in the center. And then, the hit by pitch, Darren's going to do that because he's not going to let him go out over the plate. The reason why his breaking ball is successful because guys have to get out over the plate and guard it against it. And if you don't throw some of those pitches in there, then that ball that's this far off the plate becomes a ball that's in the middle of the plate because by them going out there, it centers it up. So, let's face it, if I didn't, I probably would have taken Miguel out anyway, but Darren, having that type of option down there made it a lot easier. A lot of people after that inning starts there, they can't fight through it and keep us engaged. I would have taken it 2-1. It was real tough playing the infield back there with one out. That's one of the tougher decisions, but being at home, I didn't feel like the game was over at 2-1, but we play them up and they punch one through and 2 score. It makes a different ball game.
Have you made a decision on Bud Norris?
I personally have. We talked a long time today, Bud and I, and Wally and Dom, and I told Bud would finish that up. I wanted to see how the game went tonight and see whether or not Bud might be an option for us if we have a quick need, even just for a day or two out of the bullpen. But he's only had 1 or 2 days off. I'd rather not. I'd rather him have a work day. So he's either going to pitch one more time or pitch for us in Houston. So he'll know about it before y'all.
What determines that?
Pardon?
What determines that? Just the team need, or
us? He and I and we. No, I know Bud feels good. I mean, he's real close. He's real close. I think I really do. And just a matter of whether you want to do that in Houston or one more time in Norfolk and do it in Cleveland. It's really our options. His options. We had a good conversation today. He understands. But he wants to pitch bad. It's tough on him. It's a lot like Chris when you're having all these things or you're capable of and can do and just can't get to them. You certainly can't do them on the DL.
One question on that, just to follow. Is it rotation, bullpen, or to be determined?
I plan on Bud coming back in our rotation. That's what he is. He won 15 games for us and will pitch well for us again this year. And I've got a long memory.